Hello and welcome to The Season That Was, brought to you by AAMI, Riley Beveridge and Kane Cornes with you. Kane, today we're going to be looking at the Crows and their 2024 campaign. It was bitterly disappointing for them to finish in the bottom four.
No doubt about that. I thought they were right in the mix to challenge top four and certainly to play finals and win a final. They thought that too.
Yeah.
And if you go back to reading what they had to say through the pre-season when they extended the coach, Matthew Nicks, probably 6 months before they needed to, that was what they thought. We have a game plan that stands up in finals. Unfortunately, they didn't get anywhere near playing finals, and to think that a group like this could finish bottom four was nothing but a disappointment.
Let's start with their positives. And what makes Adelaide's season so confusing is that they were so good against the top 8 sides. So they had wins against the Western Bulldogs, Greater Western Sydney, Port Adelaide and Carlton this year. For a side that finished in the bottom 4 to beat top 8 sides that are playing finals, that's what makes them so confusing.
This showdown, they absolutely ripped the heart out of Port Adelaide. Their ability to move the ball from back 50 to forward 50 and score goals out the back on fast play was as good as we've seen from any team. And you're right, some of these wins here are against the sides that are vying for the premiership this year. So I don't know if you take that as a positive. You go, okay, well, we know that they can do it. This is what we thought they could do. Even the Bulldogs there, they were in red hot form when they knocked them off. This is what we thought they were going to do, but they weren't able to do that consistently. And their effort in the contest and the way that they were easily scored against was a real concern.
It was a season of fine margins for the Crows, and one of their biggest problems was their inability to close out close games. So in games decided by under 12 points, they end up being 2-6-1 this year. Losses to Essendon, Collingwood, Geelong, Richmond, Gold Coast and Brisbane.
Yeah, so this is coaching for me, and this is where Matthew Nicks will need to take a lot of responsibility for this. How well did you drill this aspect of your game in the pre-season? How well did you drill it when you were up and you had leads and you needed to protect it? What's your scenario? What's your setup for when you need to chase leads late in games? So to have this many close losses, that's a reflection of what I think to be a team that wasn't prepared for the situational football that they need to be prepared in.
Let's get to our moment of the season now for the Crows, and it came in this epic Friday night game against Essendon where Josh Rochelle kicked the match winner with just seconds on the clock.
Yeah, it was huge, and Rochelle's another big story, isn't it? That's the good, the fallout for him and his individual season after being dropped for the last game after the showdown is something that the Crows fans are not happy with. That was a great win, but once again, it was a shootout, and I don't think Matthew Nicks would be happy playing in shootouts where Essendon score 7 in a row, then Adelaide score 8 in a row. But it was a great moment and a thrilling contest. So the fallout from the Rochelle thing is interesting.
Yeah.
How he handles that, it seems to be pretty well.
How would you deal with it in pre-season now for the Crows?
I think he's handled it pretty well, and I personally had no issue with Matthew Nicks making that statement, but the club is now under some pressure that they haven't been, because I think the Crows fans were very much on the journey of the rebuild. They've been very patient, but the patience runs thin after 7 years. And when you're a kick away from playing finals last year and you finish bottom 4 this year, you have some issues with players like Rochelle. Then the fans have started to turn slightly on the coach, and they're facing a pressure that they haven't faced for probably 3 or 4 years.
Completely agree with you there, Kane. All right, let's have a look at Adelaide's season star, and it was Isaac Rankin. Had a terrific campaign, went into the midfield at stages as well this year, averaged 18 disposals, but also kicked 29 goals and had 15 goal assists.
Was just about to rip the competition apart. This is the game here where he really, really arrived after probably Matthew Nicks took 4 weeks too long to inject him into the midfield, but after he did that, it had huge impact. Probably would have been an All-Australian if he qualified because he had the hamstring injury. Then he had the 4-week suspension as well and some other niggles. But he's arrived as one of the stars of the game. I love Phil Thorpe's return as well, like after the interruptions that he had with his body. For him to just arrive back and explode in the way that he did. And I think Fogarty kicks 40-plus goals as well. Like, this is now Darcy Fogarty's forward line. Is he capable of going from 40, low 40s goals to 60 next year? Yeah. That's his real challenge.
8 wins for the Crows this year, finished in the bottom 4. In terms of a grade, what are you giving?
Yeah, I had them in the 8 before the start of the year. I had them winning a final, and to finish bottom 4, I've given them a D.
Yeah, okay, interesting. All right, that was the season that was for the Crows. Plenty more still to come on afl.com.au as we wrap up every side season.